So today I'm giving the second module introduction. In my previous video, I have already told you about the basic data types and basics of Python. So let us continue with Python lists today. So what are lists basically? So list is nothing but it can store multiple items. It is a single variable which can store multiple items. How the data is stored in list is, for example, so if you observe this, this is called, there is a list called mylist here, which has three different strings. So what are the strings that are stored here? So we have mylist here. Mylist is equal to apple, banana and cherry. There are three values in the list. So lists are used to store what? Multiple items in a single variable. If you want to store multiple items in a single variable, you will use like list. So what are the other built-in data types that you have apart from list? List is a built-in data type in Python. Apart from that, we have tuple, set and dictionary. Okay. So let us concentrate on only lists for this class. So lists are created using square brackets. If you observe, just observe this. Now here, how to create the list? You give any name that you want. Suppose I am giving this list. This list equals apple, banana and cherry. So what are those? Those three are nothing but the values that you want to put in the list. So whenever you want to print this list, you will use print command, okay, or print function, and you will pass the name of the list. So this list is the name of the list. So whenever you print this, what will you get? The output is apple, banana and cherry will be printed as a list. Fine. Now list items are ordered. They are changeable. That means you can change the values in the list if you want, and they will allow duplicated values also. Fine. So just like if you want to repeat some value in the list, you can do so. The next thing is they are indexed, we say. So what do you mean by indexing? So if you take C programming, you would store arrays. Okay. Whenever you want to store an array value, you are storing of the same data type, right? So in this case also it is indexed. Index means array index always starts with 0, just like C programs. Fine. So first index item starts with 0 and it will be represented using a square bracket, and you will write the index value inside the square bracket. So if I say 0 here, that means it is the first index that you are referring. Next, second item. If I want to refer the second item, how I can do it? So I will say index as 1 within the square bracket. So like this I can continue till the last element. If the last element is say stored at the third location, I will say the index number as 3 within the square bracket like this. Next, what do you mean by ordered list? Ordered list means, lists are ordered means you have identified an order and that order will not change. That is the meaning of it. So if the list is ordered, that means the items have been defined in a particular way, maybe in ascending order or descending order. So ascending order means from a lower value to a higher value, or from a higher value to a lower value. Next, if you want to add new items to the list, it is permitted. Okay. So for that purpose, we have certain methods. Okay. So there are different list methods. So we'll go and see the list methods one by one now. First method that I want to concentrate on is append method. So in append method, whenever you use a append method in the on the list that you have created, it adds an element at the end of the list. So to the end of the list, suppose I have already 1, 2, 3. If I add 4, 4 will be sitting at the end of 3. So it would, the complete list will be 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 gets added to the list. Similarly, whenever I use clear, it removes all the elements from the list. So list will become empty list. Okay. Next, copy. What does it return? It returns a copy of the list. Okay. So copy, when I say, it will create one more copy in the memory. It will not duplicate it. Okay. Different memory will be used for storing. Fine. 2 copies of the list will be created whenever I use copy function. Similarly, whenever I use count function, it returns the number of elements with a specified value. Okay. Similarly, we have extend function. Okay. So what does extend do? It adds the elements of the list, okay, to the end of the current list. So that means extend will actually add it as a different list. So to the already existing list, it will add a second list. Fine. Whereas whenever you use append, it will only append the value. Only value will get added to the same list. But here, whenever you use extend, it creates two different lists. The second one that you use inside the extend function will be added as a separate list into the first list. Okay. Next, what does index return? It returns the index of the first element with the specified value. Okay. Whatever value you give, suppose if you give the index as 1, it returns that element. Okay. Next, insert function, what it will do, it adds an element at the specified position. Suppose if you say insert of 1, so at the first position it will insert a element. Next, pop function, what it will do, you have already studied stacks probably in C programming or data structures. So same concept here, it removes the element from the specified position. So pop function will accept a position from you. Suppose if you give a pop of 0, so it removes the 0th element from the list. Next, remove function, what it does, it removes the item with the specified value. Okay, so remove will take a value from you. That value, if it is present in the list, it will remove that value. Okay, so you should know what is there already, fine, in the list to use the remove function. Next, reverse function, what it does, reverse function actually it reverses the order, okay, of the list. Suppose if you have stored 1, 2, 3 as the primary list or the original list, so whenever you use reverse of that list, it will give you the output as 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Similarly, if I use sort function, what happens on the list? So it will sort it in ascending order. Fine. So if the original list is 3, 2, 1, the sort function will sort it. So you will get the output as 1, 2, 3. Next, lists are changeable. So as I told you, you can change, add and remove items in a list after it has been created. So if I add 4, 5, 6 to the existing list 1, 2, 3, I will get the complete list as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Similarly, if I want to change the list, okay, so what I will do, I will add to the first index, I will add say 7. So what happens to the list? Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it will give you the output as 1, 7, okay, 3, 4, 5, 6. So like this, lists are changeable. You can add the items, you can remove the items from the list, but it should be already created one. Okay, from the already existing or created ones, you can do all this. Next, lists allow duplicates means what? You can add, for example, I have shown an example just below this. Observe this, how to add duplicate values, or you can give duplicate values. Apple, banana, cherry was the original list. To that I have added apple and cherry again, wherein apple is repeating and cherry is also repeating. Like this, I can give duplicated values. It will still take or it will allow duplicates. So whenever I print this list, I will get 5 items instead of 3 items. Fine. Next, how to find the length of the list. So for example, I want to find the length of this list. Okay. So whenever I use len function, okay, inside the len function, what I should pass the name of the list, which is called this list. Fine, in this case. So whenever I pass a len of this list and print it, what I will get as the length of the list, which is nothing but 5 in this case, because there are 5 elements. Okay, the length of the list will be 5. Next, list items. Okay, it can be of any data type. Fine. So list itself can contain any data type values. So for example, just observe here. Here I have used 3 different examples. First one, list 1 corresponds to string values. Second one, list 2 corresponds to integer values, and the third one, list 3, which it corresponds to Boolean data types. Fine. Now list 1 contains only string related values, list 2 contains integers, list 3 is Boolean type. I told it is containing 2 duplicates, false and false 2 times. Fine. This is allowed in list, that is why I can give like this. Fine. So what are true and false? Basically true and false are nothing but Boolean data types. So what is a Boolean value? Whenever you compare two values using say greater than, less than, or not equal to, or double equals, okay, the result will be a Boolean value. The output will be a Boolean value, which evaluates to what? Either true or false. So, this is the example of different data types, fine, inside the list. Now, just observe here, a list can contain different data types together also, fine. So, as the first example I have given different values, single data type, fine. Whereas, here if you observe in list 1, what I have done here in list 1, I have given ABC which is a string, 34 which is an integer, true which is a boolean type, 40 which is an integer, again the last one which is male, it is a string. So, I can group different data types, okay, into a list like this. Now, what does type function do? Whenever I use type, okay, for a list data type, fine, or list type, it will display to me that it is a class. First of all, I have already told you every data type in Python or everything in Python is handled as a class. Okay. So, whenever I say type of this list or list 1, it will display the output as class list. The meaning of that is, so as I told you, whenever I print type of my list, what will be the output? I will get class list as the output. Okay. Next. So, we have constructors, okay, in list. So, as I have already told you, fine. So, basically you have already learned many object oriented languages probably, fine. You know what is a constructor. Constructor will be having the same name as that of a class. Now, in list what happens? List itself is the constructor, fine. Class name is also list, the function name is also a list. You need not pass any parameters. So, it will become a constructor now. So, I can use list constructor like this. Now, how to create this? So, this list is equal to list of whatever you want to pass, you can pass, fine. Now, here you can observe the double rounded brackets, okay. So, whenever you create a list, you need to pass list itself, one more list itself as the parameter. So, you are passing a list with 3 strings as input, apple, banana and cherry. Now, what it will print whenever I print this is, it will print the constructor values, okay, whatever you have passed. So, you have passed 3 values into it. So, it will display that to you, fine. Next, let us not go into the details of this for today's class because I want to concentrate on list. But anyway, in Python there are something called as collections, or you can call it as arrays, fine. Python is a list is a collection which is ordered, which can be changeable. It allows duplicate members. So, this is about list, okay. In one line, the summary is list is a collection. It is a group of values, that is called a collection, okay. It can be ordered, it is ordered and it is changeable, and then what is the other thing? It allows duplicate members also, as I have already shown you. Now, why it is called ordered? Because whenever you follow ordering only, okay, it can be indexed. Because it is indexed, we say that it is ordered. Now, coming to the other 3 built-in data types, tuple, set and dictionary. Here I will give a intro to that and move on with the list type basically. So, tuple is what? Tuple is a collection which is ordered, of course. It is unchangeable. That is the difference between list and tuple, okay. List is changeable whereas tuple is unchangeable. That means you cannot change the values, okay, and it also allows duplicate members. Next, what is set? Set is a collection which is unordered, okay. So, please note down this. Set is unordered whereas list and tuple is ordered, fine. Next, it is unchangeable. Unchangeable means you can't change the order of it, order of values inside it, and it is unindexed. Unindexed means you can follow any order, fine. You need not give 0, 1, 2, 3 and all, fine. Then it will not allow duplicate members inside the set. So, this is the difference between list, tuple and set. Coming to the 4th type of inbuilt data, fine, that Python supports, or Python collection. Dictionary is also a collection. It is ordered, it is changeable, okay. So, this is about dictionary, fine. Dictionaries also, in dictionaries also you cannot have duplicated members, okay. Now, in your module 2, fine, I have completed what is a list data type, fine, ordered sequence of multiple values. It is a data structure in Python. For you know what is a data structure, right? So let us not go into the details now because I have already given the introduction. Let us take ls1 and ls2. These are the two lists that we have created now. Fine. So list ls1 has 10, minus 4, 25 and 13. Okay. Data of same type. What type of data is present inside this? It is integer type. Similarly, ls2 is string type. Parent, tiger, lion and cheetah are 3 items inside that. Okay. Now, coming to ls3, fine. So here, ls3, it contains a float value, 3.5, okay, a string value, which is tiger, and then an integer value, which is 10, and 3, 4, observe 3, 4 here, 3, 4 itself is a list of integers, right? So, this list can also be a part of existing list, ls3. Fine. So this is what is called a nested list. Okay. So if you put one list inside another list, so you are putting 3, 4, which is itself is a list of 2 integers inside ls3. So that is called nesting of list. Now, how to create different lists? Okay. An empty list can be created using ls is equal to, simply give a pair of square brackets. It will create a empty list. As I have already told you, type function will give you the list as a class. So list is a class, so it will display this output whenever I give type. Next, this is a list constructor that I am calling. So ls is equal to list means, so it will create a empty list or constructor with 0 arguments. The output of type of ls again is nothing but class list. Fine. Now, okay, so just observe this. Elements can be created, okay, list elements can be created with any of these following, okay, just observe this. ls is equal to directly hard coded using 10, minus 4, 25, 13. Why I am calling this as hard coding? Because I am fixing the values at a particular index. Okay, first index is 10, second index is minus 4, third index has 25, fourth index has 13. Okay, so it can create like this also, or one more way of creating it as ls2 equals list of 3, 4, 1. Okay, so what you are doing in this line is a new list is created here. Okay, using list constructor and by passing arguments to it. Fine. So what arguments I have passed to the list constructor here? If you observe, I have given 3, 4, 1. So what does it become? It creates a single list, okay, called ls2. Because left hand side I have used the list name as ls2. To that I am assigning list constructor with one more list as the argument. What does the list contain? 3, 4, 1. That is any integer type. Next, how to index the list? Okay, so just observe here. Suppose I have given say 5 or 6 different values like this. So if you observe this, 1, 5.2, 96, phase, Python and 8.6. In this, how many data types are stored? 1 is an integer, 5.2 is a floating point type, third one is an integer again, fourth one is, okay, a string, fifth one is a string, again, sixth one is 8.6, which is again a floating point value. So if you observe, so what does the index say? Okay, forward indexing means move from the leftmost one, which starts from 0 index, to the rightmost corner. Okay, what is backward indexing? Backward indexing means in Python it is allowed. Okay, whereas in C or C++ or in any other languages this is not there. Okay, but Python gives you negative indexing also, which is called backward indexing, wherein -1 represents the lastmost element. Similarly, -2 represents last but one value, and it continues to the left. Okay, so whenever you apply forward indexing, you start from the starting index and move towards the corner, rightmost index. Similarly, whenever you want backward indexing, you go to the last value, represent it as -1 and move to the left side. Fine. Now, just observe here, that is what I have given here. Forward indexing, it starts from index 0 from the beginning of the list and it moves towards the end. Similarly, negative indexing, it starts from the index -1, which is the last value in the list, and it moves from the end to the towards the beginning. Fine. Now, suppose my list is 34, high, and 2, 3 and -5. Fine. So if I want to print ls of 1, if I print ls of 1, what does it means? I am using forward indexing and my index value is 1. So index 1, if you observe this list, it corresponds to high. High is a string, so it outputs that. Similarly, whenever I use ls of 2, it is nothing but the second index. Second index itself is a list, so it prints that list for you as the output. Next. Okay, just observe this. Okay, what you can observe from this is the inner list is treated as a single element by the outer list. So, for example, whenever I used ls of 2, ls of 2 is a single list. It will treat it as a single index. Okay, so this is the beauty of Python. Fine, it treats one list as a single element inside one more list. Now just observe, whenever I print ls of 2 into 0, that means what? List of 2 corresponds to 2, 3. There again, I want to access only 0th element. Okay, so it is a 2D accessing of list. 2 of 0 means list of 2 corresponds to 2, 3. In that, the 0th index will be printed as output. So 0th index corresponds to 2. So you will get the output as 2. Suppose I print ls of 2 into 1. What happens now? I will get the index number, the value as 3. Fine. So this is the difference. Fine. This is actually accessing a 2D array. Fine. Accessing a 2D element in a array. Fine. Now just follow this note. 2 points I want to quote here. First one is the indexing for inner list. Okay. That means which is the inner list here? Inner list is 2, 3. Okay. Even that index value starts at 0, not at any other value. Don't confuse here. Okay. Whenever I say inner list means a list inside one more list. So inside ls already we have 2, 3. Even that index starts from 0. Next, when we are using double indexing, the first index, okay, indicates the position of inner list, and this outer list, okay, is indicated by using the second index. Fine. So in this, for example, ls of 2, this is the first index, right? It corresponds to the index of the original list. Fine. Again, the second index that you give, 0 or 1 here, in this case, 0 corresponds to the 0th element inside the ls, okay, of the element number 2. Similarly, 1 corresponds to ls of 2, that means position 2, we have 2, 3. In that, okay, the index number 1. Index number 1 is 3. Okay, I think you need not confuse here. Okay, it's very clear. Next, lists are mutable. Mutable means what? Using the indexing value, you can modify any value within the list. Okay, so let us take one example to understand this. Say I have created a list with 4 values, 34, high, and 2, 3 is one more list. Again, -5 is one more value. Fine. Now I want to alter the second value. Okay, so list of 2, ls of 2 corresponds to what? High here. Okay, already existing value is high. I want to replace it with hello. Okay, so I will give ls of 2 equals hello here. Fine, and I will try to print this value. So what happens here? Sorry, ls of 2 corresponds to this 2, 3 list. Fine, so I am changing it. Once I change it to hello, see what happens in the output. If I print ls now, I will get 34i as it is. Fine, I have altered the second element. So instead of 2, 3, it prints hello to me. Fine, and finally we have -5. Next, the list can be thought of as a relationship between indexes and elements. There is a corresponding, okay, mapping between the index value and the element, corresponding element. This relationship, okay, can be called as mapping. Okay, what is the name given to the relationship between the index value and the element as mapping, and that is each index maps to exactly one element in the list. Fine. Now, The index for extracting list elements, it can have the following properties. What is the property? Any integer expression can be an index. So for example, let us take this list. Here I am printing ls of 2 into 1. Okay. So what does it mean? The ls of 2 corresponds to 2 comma 3, which is again a list that will be multiplied. Each element in that list will be multiplied by 1. So what is the output? Output, you will get the same thing, right? Next, attempt to access a non-existing index. Okay. So for example, in this case, we know that it is having 4 elements totally, but I am trying to access ls of 4. Now, just note it. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Where is the last index ending? It is ending at the index number 3. But I am trying to access or print ls of 4. So it will print you with an error. What is the error that it will print? It will give you a index error. Okay. What does it give the output as? List index out of range, because the index number 4 is not there. Fine. Next. Similarly, negative index counts backwards. So as I have already told you in the diagram above. So if I access ls of minus 1, okay, minus 1, as I told you, it moves to the last element. That will be the minus 1 index. So it will print the output as minus 5. Okay. Now, if I say ls of minus 3, count from the last value, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4. Minus 3 corresponds to high, which is a string, right? So ls of minus 3 will print high to you. Fine. Next, how can we use in operator? In is a operator in list, okay, or Python. In operator can be applied on list with, okay, some results as the output. What is the result of in operator? Okay, and how can we use in operator? Let us take this example to understand that. So ls is having 4 values. It is a list. So if I say 34 in list or 34 in ls, okay, the name of the list. So it is giving me the value as true. What is this true and false? True and false is nothing but a Boolean value. Boolean is a basic data type, right? So it will report true as the output. Next, minus 2 in ls. This becomes false because this element which I am giving here, minus 2, is not present. Fine. Suppose I had used minus 5 in ls here. Since it is present, it would have reported to me as true. Fine. Next, how to get the list length? This I have already told you, so I will not go into the details. Len is the function. It returns the number of values that are present in the list. Okay. So suppose spam is equal to cat, dog and moose. Okay. So 3 values I have given. It is of integer type, as you know, but len always gives me the output as what? The number of values that are present inside that list. So in this case it is 3. So I will get the output as 3 whenever I use len of spam. Next, what are the list operations? Okay. List concatenation operator can be used. So plus operator will be used for concatenation. Okay. A list. Similarly, replication. Replication means I want to repeat the values some number of times. So which is the operator that I should use for that? It is the multiplication operator. Okay. Next. So let us understand the list concatenation with a small example here. ls1 and ls2 are the 2 lists that I want to concatenate. I have taken 1, 2, 3 as the first one, 5, 6, 7 as the second one. So I will print ls1 plus ls2. So what is the output that I get? I will get the complete elements listed as a single value. So the new list contains 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, which is the concatenated list. Similarly, just observe here, I want to use replication. What is replication? Replication means repeating the elements of the list some number of times. Okay. Now just observe here, I have taken the list of 3 elements, 1, 2, 3, and I am printing ls1 into 3 here. So into 3 means what? 3 times. Okay. I want to repeat the existing values. So observe the output here, 1, 2, 3 is repeated 3 times like this. So that is why this star operator or multiplication symbol is called as a replication, okay, operator. Next, just observe this, 0 into 4, okay, 0 into 4. What does it do? It repeats the value that you are given in the left hand side 4 times. So the output is 0, 0, 0, 0. Next, how to traverse the list. So you have already learnt many looping constructs, okay, in maybe C programming or any other language that you are comfortable with. Anyway, so for loop, how it works, it traverses each element, okay, that means it moves to each element in the list and then it prints the value. How to do it here? So let us take an example. Suppose my original list is 34, high, 2, 3 and -5. I have 4 different values. Fine. So I will traverse each element now using a for loop. For item in ls. Item is a variable now. Okay. It acts like a counter. Fine. Now whenever I say print item, okay, what is the output that I get? I will get each value printed, okay, like this. So this is how you can traverse using a for loop in Python. Next, list elements can be accessed with the combination of 2 different functions I want to use now. First one is the range function, second one is the len function. Len function you already know it, okay. So let us see how to use it in combination. So take the original list as 1, 2, 3, 4. It is an integer list. For I in range of len of ls. So len of ls will give you what? 4 as the output. Range of 4 is what? Range of 4 means it will take each value. Okay. Range of 4 means 4 different elements are there. 0, 1, 2, 3 are the indexes as I know. So I am trying to access the index now. ls of I means it starts from the first index. So list of 0, ls of 0 will be equal to what? ls of 0, that is 1, double star 2. Why will we use double star? I want the power, okay? 1 to the power of 4 or 2 to the power of 4. So here 1 will be the first value. Double star 2 means 1 square. What is the output of 1 square? It will be printed, okay? So just observe here, first element that I have got is 1. Similarly for the second iteration it will become 2 square, third iteration 3 square, fourth iteration 4 square, okay? So I will get the square of the numbers as the output. 1, 4, 9 and 16. I have given 4 values here, that's why I am getting only 4, okay, values in the output as well. Fine. If I want till 10, I can increase the list count up to 10. So I will get from 1 to 10 square here. Fine. Now here, what we wanted from this is, we wanted to do some modification in the elements of the list. Okay. So we are referring indices, okay, not the elements directly. You should not tamper the elements. Rather than that, doing that, you can only tamper the index values. Okay, you are modifying the existing list, correct? Okay, so whenever you multiply each value with the power of 2, you want the new list to be created. So you will tamper only the index values, not the elements directly. Next, len function, what does it return? It returns the length. Range function, it loops, okay, with the different values. So I have given 4 different values here. It starts with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3 is the range value. Fine. Now, list methods, I have already told you many of the methods. Okay. So how to use, what is the syntax for using? That is important for you to understand here. Okay. A Python method is like a Python function. Okay. Any method that you take in Python, whether it is inbuilt function or whatever, it will be called as an object. Okay. So how to use it with the method name is, you give the object name, dot, use the dot method or dot operator, then you give the method name. If it accepts some parameters or arguments, you give the arguments as well. This is how you will call the corresponding method. Okay. Now, in Python, each data type, whatever you want, okay, to use, it has its own set of methods. Okay. So list is a data type. List has several methods which are inbuilt to it. Okay. So some of the list methods are for adding values. This I have already told you, append and insert. For finding the value in the list, you can use index method. You will pass the some index, you will get the value of it. Next, sorting the values. For sorting the values, you will use sort method. For reversing the values, you can use reverse method. And for removing the values from the list, you can use pop method. Fine. Now, let us see each of these methods in detail with an example. How to add new element. So if I say ls.append, ls is having, suppose I am having three values 1, 2, 3. I'll use append method now, and I am appending a string here, okay, which is called hi. Again, I am using ls.append of 10. Okay, so two values I have added to the existing list. So my output is 1, 2, 3 with the value that is added, that is hi, and then 10. Okay, next, extend method. Okay, it takes a list as an argument, and all the elements in the list will get added to the working list. Now just observe here. Two lists I will take as an example, ls1 and ls2. ls1 is 1, 2, 3. ls2 is 5, 6, suppose. Next, what I am using here, just concentrate here, ls2, that is the second list, okay, dot extend of ls1. So that means to say, to the ls2, you add the elements of ls1. That is the meaning of it. Please observe here, ls1 dot extend of ls2 can also be done, okay. Then what happens, the output will be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Now I am giving ls2 dot extend of ls1. So what does it print? Whenever I print, I will get second list first, that is 5, 6. Then the elements of first list will be added, that is 1, 2, 3. Okay. Next, sort method. How can you use? So just observe here. There is an example list taken, that is 3, 10, 5, 16, -2. It is in random order. Fine. So whenever I use sort function and print it, I will get -2, 3, 5, 10, 16. It is sorted in a ascending order. Next, when we want the list to be sorted in descending order, till now we have seen only ascending order sorting. With only sort method used, I will get a ascending order sorting. But if I want to reverse the list, when I reverse the ascending order, what happens? Obviously, I will get the descending order sorting value. Fine. So how to do it is, you use ls.sort as usual. In the bracket, you say reverse is equal to true. That means you reverse it after, okay, getting the sorted value. So what I will get? I will get 16, 10, 5, 3 and -2 as the output. Fine. Next, simply if I use reverse, what happens is the list gets reversed. So what is the reversed value of 4, 3, 1, 6? It is 6, 1, 3, 4. Similarly, we have count. Okay. Now, whenever I say ls.count of 2, okay. Now, what is the meaning of this count? Just observe here. Fine. ls.count means it will take the value that you pass to it. Okay. It is not an index. Okay. You are passing a value to it. So, you should know that 2 is already present. Okay. Suppose it is not present in the list. What happens is, it says, okay, the value as 0. Understood, right? So ls.count of 54 means 54 is not present. So it will give the output as 0. 0 times it is present in the list. That is the meaning of it. Now count of 2 is, it is giving 3 as the output. How it is 3? Because 2 has appeared 3 times in the list, if you observe, okay, I'll get the output as 3. This is how count function works. Fine. Next, how does a clear function work? Just observe here. I'll take a list 1, 2, 3, which is a integer list. I'll just say ls.clear. That means I'm calling clear function on the object. Object name is here ls. So print of ls. So what I will get after executing clear, it will give you a empty list as the output. Clear will clear all the values that are present in the list. So you will get the empty list. Similarly, we have insert function here. Okay. How can we use the insert function? So I should pass two values to it. First one is in which index you want to insert. Okay. First one is the index value. Second one is the value that has to be inserted at that particular position. So I will give 1, high. Okay. Whenever I print the list, see what I get. 3, high will be inserted at first location. Okay. First index. Then 5, 10 as it is. Next, we use index method. Okay. Why we should use index method? Now here, please see to it that you pass a value which is present. If you pass a value which is present in the list, then it returns the index corresponding to it. Just observe here, 4, 2, 10. Okay, let us leave all the other values because that is not important for this discussion. So suppose we have only 3 values, 4, 2 and 10. Of course we have other values also. ls dot index of 2. So what is the index of 2? First occurrence of 2 it will search. Okay, so the index corresponds to 0 and 1. So 1 is the index, so it will output the value as 1. See, just observe this note. 2 tick marks are there, right? Observe that. Okay, so here number 2 is found multiple times, but it will search for the first occurrence. This particular function, that is the index function, works with the first occurrence. If it is present, it will give that output. Suppose if this 2 is not present, it is present at this location, then the corresponding index would be the output. Fine. Now, how can I use index in the second way? As a second way, same function can be used with 2 more arguments, start and end, to specify a range within which the search should be taking place. Now just observe this example. ls is equal to the values I have given as 15, 4, 2, 10, 5, 3, 2, 6, right? Now if I say ls dot index of 2, okay, what is the index of 2? Index of 2 is 2 itself, 0, 1, 2. So I will get only 2 as the output. Suppose I give ls dot index of 2, 3, 7, okay? So how does it perform the searches? So it will search for 2 here, okay, from 3rd position to 7th position. From 3rd position to 7th position, search 2. So what is the meaning of it? 0, 1, 2, 3. 3rd position is 10. Starting from 10, it moves till the 7th position, okay. So what is index number 7? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So till 6, from 10 to 6 it will search. That is the index values. Starting index is 3, ending index is 7. I want to search from 3 to 7, not from the 0th index. That is why I can use 2 additional parameters, that is 3, 7. So what is the output that I get? It will correspond to the 6th index, because 2 is present in the 6th index. I will get the value as 6. Now if the value is not present, it will give you a value error itself. So 53 is not present in this list. So if I say ls dot index of 53, I will get the output as 53 is not in list. Okay. Now let us stop here for the day. Okay, and we will continue in the next class. Thank you, students.